God, my laptop sounds like an airplane again, so Jet would say. Right. I don't know if that's too loud because I sound like a plane, doesn't it? I'm going to get straight into my story tonight. Let's see if we can bring up the first picture. My story this evening is about a lady called Alice Ruggles, and Alice was born on the 24th of December in 1991. Alice was the daughter to Sue Hills and Clive Ruggles. Alice had two older brothers. I'm going to show you Alice's mum and dad. That's Alice's mum and dad there, Sue and Clive. Hello, Princess Angela Beautiful. How are you? Big love, darling. Thank you for coming in. Bless you. Big love to you. Oh, bless you. I'll message you after. Right, I'm going to get back to the story. I'll get sidetracked. Love ya. Big love. Right. So that's Alice's mum and dad. I'm so glad you're good, darling. It wouldn't be alive, would it? If you know, it just makes it like it's alive, isn't it? And I have to like speak to like I can't not, you know. It's like it's rude not to. It's just it just happens. So yeah, this is Alice's mum. Oh bless you, love you, beautiful. Clive and Sue. And Alice also had two older siblings, Nick and Emma, and a younger brother, Patrick. But I couldn't find any pictures of them in their younger years. But I did find this one of them. Oh, that's Alice's mum and dad with Alice there, holding Alice in the photo. This is it really touched me, this story. I've been very emotional with it this week. But these are there's Alice's brothers and sisters older. I couldn't find any of them in their younger years. I found one of Alice, which was at the beginning. But yeah, Alice was always the fun, like she was always the outgoing fun one. She had such a beautiful aura that would just light up a room. She would also have like empathy for others as well. So she would feel like what they're feeling, and she would like lift up their spirits, you know, when they were down, with her fun-loving personality. Growing up, Alice lived in a village, and the family would enjoy going to Cornwall when Alice was younger, enjoying the sights, the beach, while the rest of the family would be like dipping their toes in the sea. Alice would be the one, like the outgoing, adventurous one, running into the sea, jumping the waves. You know, they had such treasured memories of like their holidays, like to keep for the whole family. When Alice was 18, I'm going to show you a picture of Alice now when she was 18. She attended Northumbria University, which was 200 miles from her home and her family. But because they were just like such like a close knit family growing up, like and into her like teenage and adult years, they would communicate like daily, you know. So the 200 miles, the distance was like nothing. They were communicating on WhatsApp, calls, messages, you know, Facebook. They were always in contact. They were so close. You know, even when she left home, they still had that close family bond. I'm just going to do another. I don't want to come off StreamYard because I do that sometimes. Yeah, there's Alice there passing out in her university. Sorry, my dog's there. Right, so now I've done a bit of Alice, I'm going to go into Harry's background, but I've left a description down below. That it's a psychologist's. She done a report on Harry, and she struggled to find, like, I couldn't even find Harry's date of birth, but she struggled to find photos of Harry. Like, the only photos that like she could find and what I could find was like of him older and like in the army. So I'm going to go on to Harry now. Harry's background a little bit. Oh, here we go, Rose. Right, the girl's off. Right. There's Harry. I couldn't get a younger one of him, so I really struggled. Right, this is Harry. This is who Alice met and started dating. But Harry's real name is Trimaan Harry Dhillon. And he was originally born in India and was always moving around as his father was in the army. He started a degree in India, then was given the option to do his final 2 years at Queen Margaret University near Edinburgh. And he moved to the UK in 2010. I'm going to show another picture. Do you know this story, Angela? Did you hear about this story of Alice Ruggles? Yeah, so he moved to the UK in 2010. And what happened was the army came to the university that he was studying at, and they were recruiting. And Harry passed the selection process and passed out in 2012. Oh, it's so sad, Angela. Honestly, I've been in tears this week. Yeah. I mean, you know, if you don't cry, if you like, there's a link in the description, like to. I'll go on a bit later into the live, but it's An Hour to Catch a Killer, and it was actually, they were actually filming it at the time when this happened, and they caught him. But yeah, I'll go back to the story, but it's so, honestly, it's so heartbreaking. But yeah, so he passed out. He passed in the army in 2012, and he spent time at Sandhurst Academy. And he also worked for the Royal Guard protecting the royal family on their visits to Scotland. Harry was a 6'1", powerfully built man for his age. He was 26 years old now in this photo. His ambitions was to join the SAS, and he had actually completed his course to join. Harry was serving in Afghanistan in autumn of 2015, and this is where he first ever saw a photo of Alice on Facebook with her friend that she was on holiday with. So I'm going to go on to another photo now, and then I'm going to go back to Alice a little bit. Let me just see if that's another one. Oh, this is Harry in the army when he like passed. Yeah, so he passed, and you know and I think I don't know if this was the one where he was doing the SAS or at the actual army in Edinburgh. But I'm going to go to Alice now. No, not that one. No, not that one. Sorry. Oh God, I've not done that right. Where are you, Alice? There you are. No, that's him in the army again. That's Harry in the army again. So I think that's the one of the SAS pictures. Yeah, but I couldn't find a lot of Harry. I really struggled, and so did the psychologist. So there isn't a lot out there of him growing up. So these are the photos of Harry in the army. And this is, I'm going to go back to Alice now. Hello, the watcher. Thank you for popping in and watching. Okay, so, right, once Alice graduated in Newcastle, she grew to love the city, and she decided to carry on living there a little while after. So when Alice settled, what Alice was doing, she was living in a house that was shared with some other men, some other lads at the time, and she secured a job at Media Sky in Newcastle Hub, where she actually promoted to a site coordinator and PA to the head of sites. She was really good at her job. She fitted in, and she just knew what she was doing. She was promoted. She just went up, like promoted up, like in her job. So Alice was a beautiful woman with a beautiful presence. She would be the soul of a party. I'm going to go back to a few more pictures. That's Alice at work. This is where she became the head of the sites, and so basically now she's like managing all the sites in Sky Hub in Newcastle. You know, she was very good at what she was doing. I'm waffling a little bit, I'm so sorry. And you know, she was such a beautiful woman. You know, she was the soul of a party with her bubbly personality. But around sort of like this sort of time now, Alice had just come out of a relationship and was feeling a bit low. And all Alice's friends wanted for Alice was for her to be happy again and to meet someone new and to share love with. I'm just going to do one more photo. I'd like to do this another way, where I can just bring the photos up differently. Yeah, so one of Alice's friends, you know, these are all Alice's friends here. You know, she like I said, you know, she was the soul of the party. She would lift their spirits up, you know. And now this time she was a bit down because she'd just come out of a relationship, and you know, she was feeling like a bit down, and that, you know, her friends were there to lift her up this time. And one of her friends had booked a holiday with her ex-boyfriend, and she said to Alice, you know, I've got a holiday that was booked, my ex-boyfriend's not like coming along with me now, and hello Goddess White, big love to you, beautiful, I hope you're well. I'm really good. I'm waffling as usual. I can't I've got, it's just, you know, it's this story, honestly, it's it's broke me this week, but it's, you know, it's real life, isn't it? It's real life crime. It's happened. But yeah, so Alice's friend, she had that holiday booked with her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, and she said to Alice, look, you know, I've got this holiday, you know, you've split up with your boyfriend. I was meant to go with my ex-boyfriend. Why don't we go together? You know, it was just a little touch that they both sort of needed to go away, enjoy time away on holiday, and like sort of have that healing time to sort of refresh to come back with. And so they went, so now they've booked, they're on the holiday, they're on the plane, and they take a photo together, Alice and her friend. I'm going to go to the photo. I don't think it was that one, but I'm going to keep it on this one for the minute. Yeah, so they take a photo together, and her friend uploaded it on Facebook. And Harry was a mutual friend to Alice's friend, and he left a comment saying how much Alice was like beautiful, and started messaging privately, asking questions, like showing a lot of interest in Alice. So Alice's friend said to Harry, you know, look, instead of keep going through me, why don't you just send Alice a friend request and like go from there? And he did. So he sent her a friend request, and it was just like it. They started just messaging instantly. They were messaging daily. All on holiday, she was constantly on her phone. Her friend said Alice was just so like hooked on messaging Harry back, and it became like very like intense sort of thing over the internet. So they were first messaging on the 1st of October. That was when she was on holiday, Alice. And by the 31st of October, they were in a relationship. As Alice's family were already military orientated, they were shocked at first that Alice and Harry's relationship had took off as quick as it did, but felt him being in the army was like a role to be proud of, and felt he would have been respectful and would have looked after Alice. So 3 months had passed. I'm just going to do another photo. That's Alice on holiday. I know this one's a bit small, but this was Alice on holiday with her friend. You know, it was the holiday that they both needed at that time. Let's go back now. Okay, so 3 months passed, and in January, Alice and Harry met for the first time in person. But not long after meeting, their relationship turned very quickly, like sour, very quickly. Alice was like starting to become withdrawn. She'd lost weight. She'd stopped like doing her routines, exercising, her hobbies, and she would isolate herself and stop like communicating with her friends. And what Harry was doing at this time, like this point, he was demanding Alice to sort of like spend all of his time, like all of her time with him. And like he was like basically like keeping tabs on her, and like sort of like knowing her every move. So he wanted her like with him all the time. So Harry's demeanour now had changed from being nice to constantly belittling Alice and being very nasty to her. with comments like, "Oh, your nose looks crooked." Oh, hello, RJ, bro. You're never late. How are you? You all right? I hope you're all right, bro. Big love to you and family. Yeah, it sounds very unhealthy and controlling, goddess. Honestly, I cried this week. I've actually joined. Oh, I'm going to say it after, because it's made me really like. Yeah, I've opened another door for myself, and I'm really proud, like, of myself. But not, yeah. So I won't say it in this one, but yeah. So his demeanor now had changed from like being very nasty to Alice, and he was saying things like to her, like, "Your nose looks crooked, you're gaining weight, and them clothes don't look right on you." So now, you know, now he's at the point of like controlling her. So like with his vile nasty comments, he even, I can't say this word, but I'm going to try because I'm on a live. I bet you all know what it is. Manipulated, yes, Alice to leave in her house that she actually shared with the boys, with the lads, and got her to sort of move in with her flatmate, which was a woman, but her flatmate was like sort of like hardly ever there. So it was a work colleague that she actually moved in with. And yeah, so she was hardly there, her flatmate. She was always like at her boyfriend's house. And I'm going to show you another picture. Get off this one. That's Alice there. This is where she lost quite a lot of weight at this time, this is when he was like controlling her. There's Alice there. She was such a beautiful, I mean, beautiful woman. She would lift anybody's like spirit, just oh, yeah, right. Right, this is Alice's flatmate. I know it's a bit small, but you get the gist a little bit. And this is her flatmate who she Alice moved in with, and so because Alice's flatmate would be at her boyfriend's a lot, Harry knew that Alice would be alone most of the time whilst he was away back at camp. But what he was doing, he was ringing her all the time, FaceTiming her, and basically sort of getting her to walk rounds while he was checking, like, where she was and what she was doing and if anybody was there. So on one occasion when Alice's flatmate came back home, Harry was actually there, and Alice was in the shower. And what Harry done, he banged on the door and barged the door open and said to Alice, "Get out, I need the toilet." And she was sort of saying to him, "Look, please, can you just sort of like hold on a little while? I've got shampoo in my hair, I need to get it out." But what he done, he dragged her out of the shower and pushed her out of the door. Her flatmates see her, and it was like she had all like shampoo in her eyes, she was shivering. He just dragged her out of the shower, and her sort of flatmate sat her down after Harry had gone back to camp and said to her, "Look, Alice, this isn't right." She tried to sort of have that heart to heart with her. What he's doing is not right. It's horrible. He shouldn't be doing this to you. And Alice sort of then agreed. She actually did agree with her flatmate. And whilst she was sort of just going to finish with Harry, she got a message on Facebook from another girl. And this other girl was saying to Alice, I just thought I'd give you sort of like the heads up. I see that you're in a relationship with Harry on Facebook, that he's been privately messaging me wanting to meet up and like go on a date with me. So I think this was just like, even though Alice was going to finish with Harry, I think that was just the, you know, the topping on the cake sort of thing, like it's done sort of thing. I'm gonna play a call in a minute, because she actually rings the police on Harry because he starts to stalk her soon. So yeah, so you know, like Alice being Alice though, because she was such, you know, a kind-hearted woman, you know, she ended it with Harry so politely that, you know, from she just didn't have the heart to end it with him, even though it was the right thing to do. She just was just so kind and polite in doing it, you know. But that's when like things took a distressing turn for Alice, because like this is where like Harry's controlling behaviour now becomes into like stalking her. So Harry becomes aggressive now, calling Alice, messaging her. He was messaging her friends. He was messaging her family. When she wouldn't respond, he actually like hacked all of her social media accounts, and he was turning up at places where she would be. And like, you know, she would be home alone at night and her door would keep knocking, and when she would go to the door to look, like there would be nobody there, and he would then message her saying, I've been watching you since 5 p.m. this evening, you know, giving her messages like that. So it really like started to take like a turn now where he's becoming obsessed, like obsessed with her, stalking her. So on the 1st of October, Alice was sleeping and there was a knock at her bedroom window. She went to the window and Harry was there staring at Alice. And he had like a bunch of flowers and a box of chocolates. And what he done, he left them on the windowsill, like on the window ledge, and backed away with his hands up, saying, "It's okay, I won't hurt you or kill you." So now Alice is now frightened now at this point. You know, she's become miserable in like the weeks building up of him doing this to her. She's become nervous, she's jumping all the time. And this was the last straw for Alice. This is when she actually, because her friends and family had been saying to her previously, ring the police, you need to ring the police. She wouldn't do it because I think she just didn't want him to get into trouble, because she was a kind nature. She just didn't want him to get into trouble being in the army, because obviously it would have took like a different approach being in the army, I suppose. But you know, this was the final straw. She felt so shaken to be woken up at midnight with him knocking on the window and doing what he done. So she called 999. I'm going to play the first 99 message that Alice called. Yeah, because this is later on in the story, it gets really, yeah, I think when people get pinned on like when they get pinned with stalking, I think they should take it more seriously. I really do. I'm just going to stop this one. and go, hi, hello. You see me glasses? Right. Right, I don't know if you can see that okay. Right, yeah, because this is the only one that I could get on Alice. So let's, oh no, not that one. Right, let's enlarge it. Right, can anybody let me know if it echoes when it plays? Because when I go back on my videos to watch and to read the comments, I notice that when I play the videos, it echoes. Does anybody else hear that? Oh, I missed you too, RJ. I know. Don't worry, I know you were still there. I know you were still around. You know, we don't have to. In life, friends, true friends, isn't this right? Would you agree? In life, so I know I'll get back to my stuff, but in life, it's not playing yet, RJ. In life, true friends don't get upset or fall out when you don't speak for a few days or something. It's true, isn't it? Right. If I play it, would you let me know if there's an echo?
Hi there. I just need a bit of advice really, more than anything. So I split up with my boyfriend about 3 months ago. Since then, I know that he's hacked into my Facebook and also my phone. He's been sending me a lot of messages even though I've asked him not to contact me. Basically like just messaging my friends and things. And then
Is it really bad?
I had a knock at my door, and when he sent me a message saying I've been in the garden since 5, I had a knock at my door.
How?
And then when I went to it, it's got like a little, you know, the thing that you can look through, and there was no one there, and then it happened again 2 or 3 times. And then he's come round the back, knocked on my bedroom window at the back of my flat, the ground floor flat, and he's been outside and he's like left some flowers and chocolates on the outside window sill at night. So he's walked off, he's not done anything, but I'm concerned. I've been putting off, like my friends have been telling me to call the police. I've been putting off. I've just been a bit like shaken up tonight. So
it can be it's harassment.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you do any contact problem, there's a number of things you can do.
Yeah.
You can go to a solicitor and take up an injunction.
Yeah.
Keep them away from it.
Yeah.
Or you photograph the police now.
Is that better?
Which means you don't come to the and contact the
Okay.
So which would you prefer?
Can I try that option, please?
Your name, please.
Pardon?
Your name?
Oh, sorry, it's Alice.
And the surname, Alice?
It's Ruggles, and that's I-double-G-L-E-S.
And your date of birth?
The 24th of December, 91.
And what's your call?
Harry Dhillon. His actual name is Trimaan, which is T-R-I...
Right, sorry. What's the Harry Dhillon? So what's his name?
Well, his name's Harry Dhillon, but he's got like a Sikh name, which is Trimaan.
Sorry, what name does he go by?
Harry, yeah, Harry.
Harry Dhillon.
Yeah.
How is spelling it?
Dhillon.
Right, how old is he?
25.
And where does he live?
He lives Edinburgh, and
Oh, he lives in Edinburgh.
yeah, so he's like driven down.
I don't know if you can hear it still properly.
So he's constantly contacting you by phone access, or?
Yeah, but I've blocked his number. We've got 2 phones, I've blocked both numbers. So he's been sending me Gmail messages. I haven't blocked him off Gmail because I don't want him to start emailing my work email. But I haven't replied. But then he's also made a fake Snapchat account to contact me on.
Do you know his address in Edinburgh?
Yeah.
Thank you, RJ.
So we'll need to get the Edinburgh police to go and serve him with a pin notice. Well, what I'm going to do, we'll see if we can make an appointment to come and see you.
Yeah.
In the morning.
Yeah.
As soon as we've got a daily appointment free, we'll get the tickets.
Thank you.
Actually, we've got no appointments left for tomorrow, Alice.
Okay.
So it looks like it's going to be Sunday now.
Yeah, that's okay, yeah.
Right. If we come and see you on Sunday afternoon about 1 o'clock, get the details from you and get a statement from you.
Yeah, that's okay.
If anything happens in the meantime, just give a call back.
Okay, will do.
Make a note of the incident number, which is 59.
59.
Finally, like what we did the date in the 1st of October.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll sort it out. We'll get it sorted for you.
Brilliant, thank you.
Okay, Alice, thank you.
Thanks, bye.
Right, is it still? Am I still echoing, RJ? Because I've just stopped it there because that's the first call that Alice made. And if it's echoing while it's still running, I'll turn it off. It's trial and error, isn't it? But you know, that was the first call that Alice made to the police in regarding Harry, and you could tell by her voice she was so scared, and you know, she was really upset by what he was doing to her. So the police did visit Alice on the Sunday, and they issued him with a pin, and the police actually went to the camp and they spoke with Harry and issued him the pin there. And his army officer actually spoke with him, warning him to stay away from her. Do not go near her at all. He warned him not to go near her again. So after the police visited Harry, the calls sort of like stopped. There was no more messages. It's a little echoey only. Shall we try and mute Google screen? Is that at the bottom? Is that at the bottom, RJ, where with the volume? If I mute it, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. Mute. Can you hear me? Can you hear me talking now, RJ? What as I've muted it? Yeah. So you did hear me when I muted it, 100%, because I've unmuted it now. Okay. Right. So 100%. So you could hit. Oh, I don't know because I don't press it, and then if I go back and I can't hear myself, I'll be like to do it all again. 100%. Let me check to see if you got a spell. Yes, you. Just checking it was you. Right. Well, I'll speak a little bit softly because I'm a bit You know, I'm like a bit paro if I press it. But, you know, her personality, her bubbly personality started to come back, and she started to feel a bit more like herself again. And she was like going out, connecting with friends, enjoying, like she was really enjoying being herself again. But not long after Harry was issued the pin to not have no more communication with Alice, she received a letter from him with photos inside of them both. So as he breached the pin, Alice called back to report it on the 7th of October. I'm going to play this one and then I'm going to turn it off, RJ.
Only one that I could get on
no,
on
not
Alice,
not,
so
not that one. Oh, that's a bit rude, isn't it? Right.
Good afternoon. Sorry, good evening, Northumbria. How can I help?
Hi there. Yeah, I've been in touch with the police.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it.
Him, so they can't contact me. However, I've had a letter off them.
Right, okay. So you report my to the pin.
Yeah.
Who was it from?
Who's the letter from, or who's the Harry Dhillon?
So that's the pin against me.
I know when I turned the mute, but I couldn't hear her speaking, RJ.
Your telephone number was 077 408 56291.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And what's your name?
Yeah, it's Alice Ruggles.
It's ALICE.
Yeah, REGGLES.
And you're in a
24th of December 91.
And what's your address?
It's 136 Rolling Road, and that's NE8 4QT.
So you've got a pin against who?
Against Harry Dhillon.
The I below, when BH or
DHILLON.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I apologise for the echoing.
1990.
So 5th of December 90.
And that's where I got his date of birth, because I couldn't find his date of birth anywhere.
Yeah.
And this is where I got it.
What was the comment? That was the...
So pictures of me and him, like because we could work on like a notebook that I sent him when we were together, a letter.
You got it, so... You and him,
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing that one. And because it's echoing, I don't want to like ruin like the live like as much, but you got the gist of it. She rang the police the second time, and the second time, because what I've gathered a bit later on, like in my research, there was a bit of like confusion whether they didn't like sort of do anything like to help Alice, or they did say to her, you know, do you want him arrested? And she said no, because she didn't want him to lose his career, but she just wanted him to sort of like have a warning sort of thing. But like my opinion on it is, I think really like if somebody has got a pin, it should like, whether the person like refuses them to be arrested or not, I think that they should just take it in their own hands to go and arrest that person. They've had their warning, you know, the pin was breached, they should have just gone ahead and done it, you know. But that's how strongly I feel about it. But you know, Alice did feel devastated after the second call to the police. Even though she declined him being arrested, you know, because of like her good-natured heart, and it was probably because she didn't want him to lose his career, you know, she said to her flatmate she still felt palmed off by the police. You know, he had a pin, you know, they should have arrested him. And I think like deep down she did want him arrested, but she was probably scared because, you know, when you have been in a relationship that is controlling, you know, that little part of you has that little bit of fear of that person. Yeah, so, you know, Alice also said to her sister, they'll respond when he stabs me. She actually did say that to her sister, you know, and that's where my opinion comes back into it. You know, if someone's being stalked, or you know someone that's being stalked and they've been issued a pin, the police should just go and arrest them, whether you decide to have them arrested or not. I just feel like strongly in that, more awareness in it and that, you know. But yeah, or they should, like, if they've got like a background as well to doing it before, that should bleep up on the system, and that's when they should take it, like, you know, seriously, sort of thing. You know, this person's done it before, you know, that is like, they should be arrested, you know, the second time. But yeah, so right, so right. Right, so 48 hours later, after the letter had been delivered to Alice, Harry travelled back down again 250 miles and took a photo of Alice's bathroom window. And 2 days later, Alice left work. I'm going to show some more photos now, because I'm going to show Alice leaving work. Right, so let's go back 23rd. Right, this is where Harry travelled back down. This was actually on the day when Alice left for work, 2 days after he travelled down, and took a photo of her bathroom window. So he was actually planning. So at that point, he was planning to kill Alice in his mind. 27. And there he is, like, filling up with petrol. This is where the CCTV caught him travelling back and forth. 27. Okay, so this is Alice. She actually, so 48 hours after the letter was received, this is Alice with a work colleague. He was actually bringing Alice home, and so Alice arrived home with her work colleague. He dropped her off about 5:30 p.m. they saw on a dash cam. And Maxine McGill was her flatmate. I should have said her name at the beginning. She was actually staying at her boyfriend's house that evening, but she forgot her phone when she left for work that morning. So she was nipping back to the flat to get her phone, to pick up her mobile phone. So she arrived home around 6:30 to pick up her phone. But as she sort of like pulled up, and got out to go to put like the key in the door, she just said that she had this like sick feeling in her stomach that something wasn't right. So she put the key in the door and it was like bolt locked from the inside. So Alice's keys was in the door from the other side, and she just kept knocking, but there was no answer. And she was sort of saying, Alice, answer, you know, are you there? Please answer the door. So she ran round the back to see like a window. One of the windows was wide open. And this is where she felt like sick, something's wrong. She knew just something wasn't right. So she managed to climb through the window, calling Alice's name, walking about the flat. And then she then saw Alice lying on the bathroom floor. And she said, Alice, are you okay? Thinking that she'd just fallen over or something, you know. But then she saw the blood and it was just everywhere, all over the walls, the floor, all over Alice, all over the sink. It was everywhere. And this is where she called 999 straight away. I've got the 999 recording, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it in the description below so you can go and hear it if you choose to hear it, because it does echo and it sort of like echoes on the video. But yeah, this is where she calls 999 straight away, and the ambulance and the police arrive. You know, the ambulance are first on scene, and you know, unfortunately Alice was pronounced dead at 7:30. The police on arrival noticed that Alice's phone was missing, and there was two large footprints on the sofa under the window from where the window was open. And there'd been like items like scattered everywhere, like there had been a struggle. And Alice was stabbed with a carving knife that was taken from the kitchen, from her flat kitchen. And the autopsy done on Alice said that she was stabbed up to 6 times on her throat, from one side of her ear to the other. And the attack was so brutal that you know, you could see her spine. The autopsy actually said that her head would have had to have been pulled back whilst she was cut so brutally in the neck, and Harry would have been forcibly having his knee on her back. The cuts to Alice were just like on her neck was so open and brutal, you know, it was just, yeah, it was brutal. So at the time of hello Jakeaway Day, are you all right, sweetie? At the time of Alice's murder, there was a documentary being made, and it was called An Hour to Catch a Killer, and the link is in the description below. And they actually made the documentary on Alice Ruggles. So Alice also had severe chest injuries, and she had been stabbed in her nose and had defense injuries on her hands. So the first chief detective inspector, her name was Lisa Thacker. She was the first to arrive at Alice's flat, and she actually did say that it was Maxine's 999 call that led the police to capture Alice's murderer. so quickly. Okay, so she's now sort of like, she's got to the flat and she's like sort of like looking around now to see like because obviously Alice's flatmate found Alice, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my camera on and I'm going to come on a bit and speak to you, because you know, I just want to sort of speak in that. But I have got my notes. I've only got a couple more pages to go, so I'm nearly done. Yeah, so obviously when the Lisa arrived on the scene, Alice's flatmate was also there. Her employee had dropped her home, so she's now wanting to get like all the information as quickly as she can, because they actually reckon the first hour is so crucial to actually finding the killer, you know, so she's trying to get all this done as quick as she can. So she seizes Alice's flatmate's shoes, clothing, as well as her employer that dropped her home. She checks at the times like tally, and she like, you know, this is all clarified through like CCTV, and a car cam had a cam that actually see Alice being dropped home by the employee, and he drove off. So they actually see Alice going into the flat on her own. So, you know, this is where now Alice's friend has actually mentioned Harry. So, and they can't find her phone. So they start now looking into Harry, and they suspect that it is him, but they need to like sort of prove that he's been there, and like if he's traveled, if he's signed out of camp and come down to Newcastle. They needed to sort of like check through like the like CCTV. So yeah, so I'm going to go and do another picture. So this is Alice's flatmate here. Bless her. This is the one that called 999. Yeah, so basically Alice's flatmate is the one that mentioned Harry, and you know, this is where now they sort of like go up and bring Harry in for questioning, you know, because he had been right, I'm going to backtrack, because yeah, all right, so this is where they pick Harry up for questioning, and they notice, I'm going to show you the picture of him. He has 2 scratches on his face. This is where they got to Alice's flat, the police. I'm really waffling tonight, I'm so sorry. This is in the bathroom where Alice was found. And this is where, on arrest, this is where Harry, I don't know if you can see very clearly, but he has 2 scratches on that side of his face where there had been like a sort of struggle and a defense sort of like scratch sort of thing. Yeah, so, and there was blood on his Help for Heroes band. And so this is where they started to look into like Harry's background, and found that he had actually been given a restraining order for harassing another ex-girlfriend. And like, this is what brings me back to like what I was saying before, you know, there should be some sort of like flag, like red flag on the system, because he was known for previous, when his name flashed up with Alice, you know, it should have bleeped, you know, back to when he'd done it to his ex-girlfriend before Alice. I just think that's how it should be. But yeah, so right. So leading up to Harry's arrest, so Lisa, the chief policewoman, asked for Maxine and Alice's boss, who drove her home, to, I've already said this, but I'll say it again, to have their clothes, to see what their accounts were. She asked to see if Harry had signed out of base and for his car reg, so she could pick up on the automated number plate recognition system. And it actually showed him travelling to Gateshead, where Alice lived, and back to his army barracks in Edinburgh. So they actually picked that up on the number plate system. She instructed the officers to locate and arrest Harry on suspicion of murder and seize his car as soon as possible. She asked for all CCTV search of all the area. She obtained authority of Alice's phone records, and the car register system showed Harry leaving Edinburgh at 12 p.m. that day to travel all the way to Alice's flat from the barracks. And she then ordered 2 officers to go and question Alice's flatmate and Paul Lynch, the last to see Alice alive. Hello, Marie C, beautiful. Oh, I'm so happy to see you in here. Oh, like, I don't know, I'm so happy that you popped in. Honestly, you've made my night. I'm waffling. I'm actually waffling, but, you know, I'm trying to get it out to the best I can and respectful as I can, you know, because of the way that, you know, it's in respect of Alice, and I'm trying to do it as delicate as I can, so it makes me, I hope it makes sense anyway. But big love, beautiful, and I hope you're okay. Yeah, so she gets to the flat to examine all the evidence, and she gets permission to trace Alice's phone, and she gets this permission, she gets granted the permission, and Alice's phone is pinging from Gateshead all the way to Edinburgh that evening. So Harry had her phone, the phone was with him. And then she also finds out that Alice had called the police 11 days previous. And that's like, that's what we hear, like that's what we heard in the 999 call that I played before. And 12 p.m. midnight, that's when Harry was arrested. His fingerprints were taken, swabs were taken, nail scrapings were taken, and then this is where you see when he was arrested, he actually had the 2 scratches on his left side of the cheek there, and he actually had a scratch on. Don't worry about not emailing me back, beautiful. I know you're there. You know, it's all right. Honestly, don't worry. Honestly, beautiful. I'm just so happy to see you in here. I really am. Yeah. So he actually had a scratch on the right side of his neck, which did indicate, you know, of a recent struggle. So blood swabs were taken from his face, and his jewellery was removed. There was blood on Harry's steering wheel in his car, and a dash cam caught Alice arriving home at 5:30 p.m. and this was the last time that Alice was seen alive. I've got my notes. So when Harry was interviewed, he denied killing Alice and said he wasn't even there when it happened, but then says he was there. He drove down to speak to Alice as he wanted answers. He said Alice was sitting in her living room doing something on her phone. He knocked the window and he said, Alice shouted at me, "What are you doing here?" He denies entering the flat. He stayed outside at all times. Alice was the one who actually came out to him. That's what he was saying. He then said he went on to sort of hold Alice's arms, and Alice said to him, "Go away," and scratched his face. And during this time, Alice's phone went flying out of her hand and into the air. Alice used her phone for the last time at 6:01 p.m. to a WhatsApp friend. And a CCTV shows Harry leaving Alice's area where she lived 24 minutes after Alice messaged that friend. And 9 minutes after that, Alice's flatmate phoned 999. Harry was charged with the murder of Alice, and on April the 10th, he went to trial for Alice's murder, where he pleaded not guilty at Newcastle Crown Court. Oh, bless you, Marie. It made me cry, beautiful. Honestly, I'm so emotional. If no one cries watching it, they just haven't got a heart, you know? It was just like, oh, yeah. Yeah, so he actually pleaded not guilty at Newcastle Crown Court, but the jury rejected his plea and convicted him. I can't say this word, hang on, unanimously. Yeah, rest in peace, Alice. You know, and you know, they all agreed he was guilty. And on April the 26th, he was sentenced to life in prison with the minimum term of 25 years. I'm just going to show Alice's that's him at the station. It's him being charged with Alice's murder. That is the actual chief inspector that actually had an hour to get all the evidence, and she done it in that hour. But she was the one that actually said if it wasn't for Alice's flatmate being 999 as quick as she did, and as soon after that they may not have found, they may not have found him, but I think they would have done, but just not as quick. But yeah, that is the chief inspector. And this is Alice's family after he was sentenced for, to serve the minimum of 22 years. I don't think that's long enough. A life should be life. You take a life and you should have your life, spend the rest of your life in prison. That is it, eye for eye, so they say, but yeah, bless them. And Alice's parents actually set up a trust in Alice's name to raise awareness for stalking. And it's actually in October. So in October the 5th and 6th, it's a National Awareness Week. So yeah, I'm gonna actually do that course. I've decided not because I've never been stalked, and you know, if anybody has, or and hopefully they don't, it's just having that more awareness, and then getting it more awareness out where I am, in my community. But yeah, I'm going to leave it with some photos of, that's the Alice Ruggles Trust. This one's a bit small. I don't know whether you can see it as clear, but you can always zoom in. It's in the kitchen. Oh, where's the other ones? Yeah, save the date, Wednesday the 6th of October. Yeah, that's the Stalking Awareness month. And then I'm going to leave it on with this one, with, how did I do this last time? No. Oh, how did I do it last time? Did I do it like that last time? But because it's a smaller photo, probably that's why it's probably gone a bit like to there. Yeah. Is there a picture of Alice? Yeah, there is. At the beginning of the video, I've put one of Alice as I think she was about 5, and then there's like a build up of her when she graduated, and when she was working, when she was on holiday. But yeah, I wanted to leave it with this one, but I wanted to come on respectfully and just show my face, and and rest in peace to Alice. She was a beautiful woman. Like I said, 22 years minimum isn't justice to me. But yeah, oh bless you, Marie. Thank you, darling, and thank you for popping in. Yeah, I mean, what do you think? You think 22 years? I mean, it. I know they say people change, and but it's not long enough, is it? It's not long enough for, but yeah, bless Alice's family. They've raised over £14,000 for Alice's trust, which raises awareness in stalking. Yeah, so yeah, I'm going to leave some descriptions below. Alice's trust is down below as well in the description, and An Hour to Catch a Killer with Trevor McDonald, because they were actually documenting at the time, and that's how they caught Alice's killer. But yeah, I'll leave the descriptions down below, and it has been a long one. They're getting longer, aren't they? But yeah, out of respect for Alice, rest in peace, beautiful, and yeah, big love everyone, and thank you for coming in, and peace out.